Welcome to this webinar. And my name is Gunilla Redander, working as a statistician at IBM SPSS. Today I'm going to compare IBM SPSS Statistics to spreadsheet program. What is the difference? First of all, they are meant to be different. In a spreadsheet program, you should do calculation. In a statistical program like SPSS Statistics, you work with analytics. So it's an analytical program. So that's the big difference. Example from a spreadsheet program, this is the typical situation that you start from already aggregated tables, reports. And in these tables, you can see summaries like mean values, for example, and you can do your own calculations, like taking one cell minus or another one. That's the typical situation in a spreadsheet program. But when you're working in the statistical program, you're working from raw data, and you can also call it flat file, where every row is one individual and every column is a variable, and you're working with menus when you find out which program to use, which command to use. If we go into the details, the structure is also different. In SPSS Statistics, we use 3 windows. Start with data, always in the data window. You have the programming, if you want to use that, in the syntax window. And then the results, the output, is in the 3rd window. So you split this, so you have a good structure about everything. In a spreadsheet program, you work with one window and have everything mixed there. The data, the formulas, and the tables and graphs is in the same window. Or you can open more windows, but it's still the same. So if you're working with a spreadsheet program, you have to be aware to document everything you're doing so you don't get any misunderstanding in the future. Because if you have that, you can have error in decisions, and that will be also very time consuming. The data, what is the differences here? You can work with the raw data in the spreadsheet, of course, not only the aggregated I was talking about. But the problem is that it can be unstructured. So in the middle of the raw data, you could sometimes find formulas, calculations, and that will destroy your statistics in the end. In IBM SPSS Statistics, you're working with the raw data. It's always in the same structure. And here you can also combine the data numbers with labels. So 1 for male and 2 for female, for example. If we go further in SPSS Statistics, you're working with menus, and there are all the ready commands. It's time saving, the risk for error decrease, it's the same command, and you can also find some help how to use, which method to use in different situations. And here's an example from the Analyze menu with some of the commands. In a spreadsheet program, you have to know what kind of calculation or statistical method to use. Data preparation is another thing that we can compare. SPSS Statistics has been, from 1968, focusing on this data preparation part. It's very important because we spend a lot of time doing data preparation, fixed data, clean data, and so on. So groupings of age, for example, we have here circles around 60 years old people. We maybe want to have them in one group, the 50 years people in another group, and so on. That's the grouping part. It's very easy to use that. The date and times, you can calculate very easily the date and times between 2 dates. And to see how long time is it between 2 dates, for example. You can create new calculation and mix that with conditions like this. Increase all the salary, but only if there are females. And in the spreadsheet window, you can do some of this, but it's more time consuming, more complex, especially if you are going to use conditions like if only female and so on. Here's an example from how easy it is to use in the SPSS the grouping command to group age into 4 groups, for example. You just click some buttons and you're ready in some seconds. In data management part, SPSS Statistics, easy to use for example, selecting subgroups, like female in 60 years old and having an agreement, for example. You can split analysis, so it's split it up between male and female, for example. And you can import data from several sources. In spreadsheet program, it's more time consuming and more difficult because you have to use many steps, many clicking, and you also have to remember all the clicks. The results, if we go further, in SPSS Statistics, you can mix more than 3 levels. And with levels, I mean maybe to have more than 3 variables in the same table. Here's just an example of one table when we have mixed agreement, where they live, and gender, age, how much they have bought, and so on. Results, you can export into other formats, many formats, PDF, PowerPoint, and so on. And then we have a very important thing, and that's how to save and reuse commands, because that's something that we also focus on. You can save commands just by clicking on the paste button in the dialog box. That's time saving. You can reuse the same command in the future, and then that makes the results to have a higher quality because you are sure that you use exactly the same command every time. You can also share this with other colleagues and be sure that it's the same. And you can have this syntax or commands like a documentation, what you have done. In spreadsheet, it's not possible in the same way. So the summary, value of SPSS Statistics, if you compare to the spreadsheet or the calculation tool, it's more safe, less errors, and that's because of that you can save everything into commands, syntax, or you can use ready commands. It's faster because you have just some simple clicks to find out the commands. It's easy to use, and you can get some help also what kind of statistics or method you should use. SPSS has more methods and more sophisticated. You can save all the commands and reuse it for the future, and you can have some documentation at the same time. You can plug in different language like R and Python that is very popular. And then other benefits is that SPSS has a big user group worldwide. You can go into LinkedIn, search for SPSS. You can also find a lot of recordings on YouTube. Thank you very much for listening to this recording, and welcome back. Thank you very much.